somehow I'll make this a life. So I searched out a treatment facility. I was on an MAO inhibitor, and I think y'all know what that is. It's pretty dangerous to be on, especially if you drink. And I said, I just can't do this. And I was living with Thor, my Thor. For 17 years we've been together, by the way. So he's an amazing support friend, really good surrogate kind of father to my daughter, who's now going to be 29 in June. I can't even go there, but you know, he was just tremendously helpful throughout all my acting out, all my stuff. He said to me that he saw something deeper in me than I saw in myself. So that was a good thing. So let's see, where am I? Okay. Wow, I'm doing pretty good, actually. So, New Orleans. I went down there, and the psychiatrist that was my case psychiatrist took me off all my medications, took me off Nardil, and within a few days I started to get like violently ill with headaches and throwing up, and I couldn't even participate in any of the group, any of the support that was going on in this treatment facility. They transported me to a psychiatric part of the treatment center. And I just kept getting sick and sick and sick, and I went outside. I said, God, what is going on? And I've met several people, one who saved my life, I think, but I went outside and they were playing basketball, and I don't recall feeling dizzy or, oh my God, something's going on, but it felt as though somebody had shot me in the head. Probably doesn't feel good. And the lights went out, and I really don't know a whole lot that happened or that was given to me. I don't know. And this is where Thor comes in. My sisters, my family, whom I love very, very much, they called my oldest sister Sharon, and this is what happened.
This is a compilation of two of Mary's sisters who summarized what happened over 4 months. Mary was taken to the emergency room following a grand mal seizure that was preceded by severe headache and nausea that had been present for a couple of weeks. Mary went to a treatment center. I don't know if you elaborated.
Did I say that? Yeah.
The neurosurgeon called our family after his examination shortly after Mary arrived in the ER. He told me, I need your permission to operate immediately to put a shunt in your sister's brain or she will die. Her condition is critical, and you and your family should fly down to New Orleans on the next plane. When we all arrived, within 2 days, the surgeon spoke to us saying, Mary has a 10 to 15% chance of survival. She has hemorrhaged massively in her brain from the rupture of 2 of the 3 aneurysms that appear on imaging. One is inoperable, as it is too close to critical brain structures near the brainstem. The following month or more, if she survives, we expect various critical complications that are part of having bled to this degree in the brain, including vasospasms of the vessels. Infection will be a huge concern, as we have had to put a shunt pump to drain the fluid in her head so that it does not allow dangerous pressure to build up in her brain. There is massive swelling in her brain, and if she survives, this will gradually subside with drugs and the shunt. At this point, her right side appears to be paralyzed. It could be swelling, we don't know yet. This will be a very long haul, and we have no idea what her functioning will be and won't for some time. The neurosurgeon was excellent. He was all business. He arranged to have all family in a room and at one point update us on her grave condition. And there were some family decisions that needed to be made on how far we wanted to go in preserving Mary's life, as it was so critical that it was a DNR, right, that was put in place. But we didn't have to go there, in essence. Mary was in ICU for 4 months and remained semi-comatose and/or was sedated most of the time. Infectious disease specialists actually ended up saving Mary's life from all kinds of dire emergency stuff. Mary battled multiple systemic infections, including meningitis, kidney infection, pneumonia, and generalized septicemia. The organisms include MRSA and Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Pneumonia and extremely high fevers on and off for months were the daily battle zones, which required her to be on an ice blanket and respirator. Mary had a feeding tube to receive nutrition, but her gag reflex was minimally functioning. She kept reflexing and aspirating the nutrition going into her stomach. It was one of the most highly critical times, and we thought we were going to lose her. At one point early on, probably the second week, one of the sisters remembers leaning over and saying, "Mare, I need to know if you want to live. Do you want us to pray for that?" Things were so grave, with tubes flowing all over, yet there were moments when she was conscious and responding. But I wasn't clear what your spirit was at, whether you wanted the will to live or not. You opened your eyes very wide and blurted out the best you could through a feeding tube on one side, and you said, "Yes, I want to live. Pray for a miracle."
Pray for a miracle.
So that was what I told everyone in the family, and we all understood that that was what you were fighting for and wanted to live. You did a great job, by the way.
Okay. Well, that's hard to kind of like listen, you know, and not have a whole lot of emotion going on, but clearly I have that going on. So I was in and out of consciousness a bunch, and when I was, my eyes were open, I recall doing a lot of thrashing around, and didn't seem to have control of what was happening. And there were some really nice nurses there, and there were some really not very nice nurses there. So that's where, I mean, I just really want you to hear that. It's like, why did you get into this profession? My guess is because you want to help people. But, you know, whatever's going on in your home life, don't be throwing me like that. But they did. And it got worse because my Medicaid ran out and Medicare, and they said, yeah, well, she can go into a nursing home. Such a horrid place. And I was in the middle of the hallway. I had a 80-year-old roommate, and, you know, I'm in diapers, and I'm in a crib-like situation. And I went, you know, I just have to have some dignity here. I have to have something that belongs to me. And I kept ringing the orderly to come in, and I kept ringing and ringing and ringing, and I said, hell with it, I'm gonna just go into the bathroom. So I shimmied up the crib, slithered over the side, smacked down on my belly, and did a combat crawl kind of to the bathroom. Ripped off the diapers, shimmied up to the toilet, did my business, got down, and I felt quite triumphant about that. I was feeling really good, like, God, at least I could do that. And as I came out of there, the orderly came in and said, what are you doing? I couldn't really talk, so I just kind of looked at him like, well. And he picked me up and he threw me into the crib, and I banged my head, and because it's not a wood kind of situation, it's steel. It hurt. And he didn't like me very much from that day forward. So my friend that I met at the treatment facility, Rebecca, would come and visit me maybe once to twice a week. And she came, and I'm not sure how I said this or how clear it was when I said it, but I said, you have to get me out of here. If you don't get me out of here, I will die. And I said, I think you can get me a day pass. I'll get on the phone. I'll talk to my sister, because my sister Susan, who is my best friend, and she was my legal guardian, I'll call her and I'll just let her know I can't come back here. So I escaped. And I remember that I said to my sister Sharon, Sue, I can't go back. I'm not going back. No matter what, you can't get me to go back. She said, okay. So she called Thor, and they got a red eye, and he picked me up the next day. So I'm coming home. And I was grateful that he was there. I was happy. I was like, oh, finally I'm in a safe place. Still couldn't walk or really talk that I recall. But clearly I was able to express some things. I had like maybe 120 pounds at the most. I looked like a concentration camp victim and felt that way too. I could use the walker here and there, but I did a lot of tripping. So Thor and my sister worked on getting me into a transitional home and also rehab, where I would do my walking and work with a speech pathologist. And that was at Fanny Allen, which is in Burlington, Vermont. Very nice facility, unbelievable care, and doctors and nurses, just really, really good. And but for me, the worst part of this whole recovery was the emotional wreckage of my life. It's like I left to go to New Orleans, and I came back 7 months later with the same stuff, only I had no medications that were helping me. I was completely without any kind of defense mechanisms that I had as a kid. So I was like, I'm in the same place. Oh my God. And I can't live like this. I cannot live like this. The agony inside that I was feeling, the suffering that was going on inside was indescribable. It was like being in an incinerator. And I was numb to touch, couldn't taste, couldn't smell. And that was like for 2 years. And I thought, well, you know, okay, it hurts, I'm suffering, I guess this is just the way it goes for me. And so I decided, well, I should get myself educated, because at least I can maybe be a part of, you know, society again, even though I'm in this like horrific pain.